Hi, this is your host Swapnil Bhartiya, and we are here at the Open Infrastructure Summit in Denver, Colorado. And today we have with us Karsten. You're the co-founder and CEO of Cloudibility. First of all, I like the name of the company, Cloudibility.
Thank you.
I think it's a consulting firm where you empower companies so that they can embark on their cloud native journey.
Right.
So let's start with, tell us a bit about the company itself.
Cloudibility was founded in 2017. And we were founded since we had huge issues with projects moving into cloud environments and basically not working out there properly. We found that it's not always a question of technology, it's more often a question of processes, of mindset. And we basically centered around that. Cloudibility is trying to change mindsets. Cloudibility is trying to set up cloud-native processes and basically enabling its customers to proceed and sustain in cloud-native environments. So we are currently having roughly 45 employees. We have offices in Germany and Poland and in India and are currently on our way into the United States as well. And we basically try to ensure that our customers understand what cloud nativeness means and basically are able to sustain there and to have success in those environments.
What I'm getting from you is that it's not a technology problem, it's a people problem.
That's quite often the case. I mean, technology is a very, very important part of the game, but it's not everything. I mean, you can have the best technology in the world. If your people are not able to work with that technology, if they are perhaps scared of that technology, if they perhaps are even fighting against it for whatever reason, the technology will basically not bring any success into your company and into your business. So what we understand is basically that you need to change the mindset of the ones working with technology, but you also need to change the way an organization is working internally as well as externally. So it's way more than just technology, but technology, of course, is at the very core. It is basically the center of everything, but technology alone does not solve problems.
You earlier mentioned, that when you come across people, that what is, cloud native means. Can you talk about what are the myths around, this is cloud native means versus the reality? Not in detail, but some that you have, these are the patterns that you see every time you talk to a customer, that they have these myths about cloud.
Yeah, what we usually see when talking to customers is more like a understanding of we do lift and shift approaches into a cloud environment, and that would to some extent solve problems. There are studies that basically show in the end that roughly 90-95% of companies moving into cloud environments end up having higher costs than anticipated. So what we basically try to bring onto the table is that you can move into a cloud environment, but it makes sense to not only move into that environment, but also to get cloud native. And cloud nativeness in the end means changing the way your software is set up, the way your software is actually designed, the way your software is run. So you are in the end not only able to scale your infrastructure, you are then also able to scale the way you are working with your environment. If you don't do that, you end up scaling up your costs, and that's not what we want to do. Right. So one of the most often seen misconceptions is that cloud is changing something. No, you need to change your software, you need to change your processes, you need to change your environment and your way of thinking. And that is basically the difference between cloud readiness and cloud nativeness. Cloud nativeness means you are adopting, you are able to adopt, you are able to adjust, you are able to iterate, and your software, infrastructure, environment, and organization is able to do that. So a lot of things to consider there, and a lot of challenges to solve there, and a lot of nice things to learn there.
We hear a term called digital transformation or IT transformation, and I think going cloud native is part of, because digital transformation is not a destination, it's a journey, Even when you move to cloud native world, new paradigms, serverless, functional service, they keep coming up. So it's not that you stop your journey there, you have to. So that is also part of the process when you change your mindset that they should be ready for.
Yeah. Let me put it differently. Basically, the journey is what is interesting in that regard. It's not like the ultimate goal, because when you start the journey, the goal might change in the end. Technology is ever changing. It's pretty much disruptive. So you need to change basically the way you are looking at technology and the way you are interacting with technology. I know a lot of people that basically state, yeah, I learned for 10 years now and I do not have to learn again for whatever reason. That is completely the wrong approach there. The idea has to be lifelong learning, of course. Enable yourself, empower yourself, enable your organization, empower your organization, and then do that with technology as well. So, the journey is basically what is interesting there, and that journey is not going to be done or fulfilled by whatever reason. It is ongoing, and it will be ongoing, and you better start accepting that.
Yeah. In terms of organizations, they would procure software stack, and that will be good for 20 years, and then they will plan, and they take 5 years to migrate.
Yeah.
So that's a old mindset which has to change.
Yeah, that's basically part of the history.
Right.
With cloud native approaches, you are able to iterate way faster. You have way faster times to market. You can test way more extensively. You can basically bring in new versions every day. There are companies that bring in 70, 80, 100 versions a day of their software. That's basically due to the fact that your environment is adaptable. Your environment is able to handle that, and your software is also able to handle that. But again, it does not stop there. That's just the start. So the organization does need to adopt to that as well. There are quite often, speaking of old approaches, quite often those old ITIL approaches, change advisory boards and the likes. They are good, but they slow you down. So the idea is basically to get the best out of those old and working approaches and transform them into the new world where everything is way faster, way more complex, and way more interesting.
But when they move from that old model to a new model, there is a lot of fear also, because the one thing was like, hey, once you set it up, it's working, don't touch it, don't fix what's not broken. Today's model is totally different.
Yeah.
Keep breaking, keep fixing, that's how you iterate.
Yeah.
So when you deal with your clients and customers, do you still see this fear in them, or they have moved on?
No. Initially, that fear is there. And that fear also, maintains for quite a while. You cannot basically change the way people are trying to act if you are not able to take away that fear. That's why we do not see basically technology as problem solver. We do changing mindsets as problem solvers. So part of what we do is basically coach our customers, the people there, to accept the changes, to lose the fear there, and to basically understand that changing something does not necessarily mean getting rid of someone or someone's work, because that's quite often a fear. A lot of automation going on, a lot of improvements going on, a lot of innovation going on, and where do I end up personally? Well, turns out you can be part of that. And you can basically not only be a passenger, you can be the driver if you just adopt properly, and if you lose the fear of, failing, or the fear of getting, out of the game to some extent. So that is what we try to bring in to our customers as well. We help them basically enabling their staff and their people to work with those new approaches. And you need to see the whole picture. It's not going to work out the other way around.
Right. And if you look at Cloudibility itself, there are so many new technology, new paradigm. How do you keep yourself up to date with all of that?
Part of what we do every day is learning. So basically, our experts are not only just fulfilling something, they try to learn, they try to basically understand what's going on, and we give them time to do that. We give them resources to do that, and we also, give them the mindset of looking across the border and looking left and right, and basically see new things, work with them, play with them, and in the end understand them properly. So that is part of our DNA. That is basically part of what we do every day. We basically do a lot of eat your own dog food things, because what we basically give our customers and what we basically enable them to do is proven internally as well.
So we are here at the Open Infrastructure Summit. What has been your experience so far here?
What I experienced here is a lot of openness. I mean, it's in the name, but it's lived here. That basically evolved over the years. We see a lot of integration there. We see a lot of partnerships going on between different vendors there. And what we actually see here as well is a highly motivated community that is basically trying to bring the power on the road. So it's quite interesting to be here. It's a good atmosphere, and I feel like that will that will go on and that will grow over time as well. So it's a good foundation for what's going to be there next. So yeah, it's a good event and it's a good community here.
Awesome. Thank you, Karsten, for talking to me today.
It's my pleasure.
I look forward to talking to you again, because this cloud native world is, this is the world we live in.
Yeah.
And as you said, it's a journey.
Yeah.
So our path will cross. So once again, thanks for talking to me today.
It was my pleasure. Thank you.